Hello, my name is Louise Matson, Intuitive Conscious Channel, Conduit for Energy Healing, Spiritual Mentor and Guide, and this is the morning musing that came through for sharing today, the 1st of January 2022. This morning musing is about what can be achieved when you surrender to trust. So what came through was, you see, without much thought or effort, you've reached the next level of elevation. And that comes through trust, allowing yourself to be guided as to which path to take and taking it. So today I went out on my walk, and every walk that I do, pretty much every action that I take is a conscious act. And all of my walks are conscious walks. And what I mean by that is that I have no prior intention or expectation or purpose. I'm just going on my walk, and at each junction, at each choice point, whether it be a fork in the path or coming to a junction in the road, I'll tune in and ask which route to take, and I'll then take that route. So prior to the walk, I've no expectation of the journey of the walk, the route that I'm going to take, the destination or anything. I just allow myself at each choice point to connect in and be guided. And this I've done for years. And as we do one thing, we do all things. And so this way of being has permeated into my way of life. Now, I haven't been on a walk for some time because of the renovations of my house. And for whatever reason, I've just not felt inclined to go out. I've had a lot of client sessions and there's been a lot of things going on, and I've kind of been hunkered down within the home, only going out to do practical things. And so my level of physical fitness is not as it was in any regard. And today I was guided to go for a walk, and as always, I allowed myself to follow my guidance, and I found my head jumping in and thinking that I was going to be taking a particular route that I'd walked previously. And I found myself mentally mapping that route out. But the reality was that when I got to a certain point, my physical body consciousness was saying, enough. I'm not going any further along this direction, this route. Now, at that moment, I could have gone one of two ways. I could have allowed my head and my mental map in my expectation or my anticipation of doing that particular walk that would have taken me much further down the valley and then looping back around to dictate or to supersede that which my body was telling me and that which I was being guided to do. And my ego could have got involved and gone, you've thought about this walk, let's do this walk, let's just push ahead, let's just force on through. In a very lower masculine vibrational way of being. You know, let's just push on through this. But instead I allowed myself to stop. Prior to coming out, I'd made myself some tea, I'd brought some fruit with me, and it was such a beautiful place that I stopped and I had a drink. And as I asked my body what I wanted to do, and I checked in, and said, basically, which way am I supposed to go now? I had no judgment whatsoever. I had no judgment about any of it. I was merely interested in the process. So my body was telling me I needed to hydrate, and so I had my drink, and then I was guided to head back the way that I'd come. And again, my ego could have easily stepped in at that point and gone, but you failed. You haven't done the work that you came here to do. But the reality is, I didn't come to do a particular walk. That entered my mental process because the ego likes structure, because the ego likes to know what's coming and it likes to plan ahead. So there was an aspect of the ego that was getting involved in this walk. But what I consciously chose to do was follow my guidance without judgment. So I smiled at the ego and I said, well, we're going this way now. And the fact that this way happens to be the way that we've come is irrelevant. I'm guided to go this way. And so again, I carried on with the walk, and I came to a point where there was a possible 4-direction split. And so I checked in again. And again, I was guided to sit and take a drink and to just stop. And in that moment of just sitting and allowing the guidance to come to me, because it wasn't immediately obvious, there was bird song, there was the wind rustling through the leaves, and everything became very, very still. And the ego just started to dissolve. It really softened. It became less impactful. I mean, it's always there. For as long as we're in the physical form, it's always going to be there. But it became less. It was an aspect of me, but it wasn't my main focus. And I was guided to go along a path that wound back up the hill. I mean, always back were going to be up. And as I'd experienced my body feeling the effects of not having been out for walks for a month or so, I wasn't relishing the prospect of going back uphill. But what came through was, there's no rush. We'll get there. What does it matter how long it takes? It's one step after the other, and if you need to rest, you rest. So I continued along the path that I'd been guided to go along. And in all honesty, I really wasn't thinking. I wasn't consciously aware. I was just absorbed in the landscape of the trees, the sounds that were around me, the sunlight as it was peeking over the hill in the distance. And I came to the next junction and I was guided as to which way to go, and I followed that path. But again, I wasn't thinking at all. And then the next thing that came through was, you see, without much thought or effort, bearing in mind at the bottom of the hill, I'd been like, oh my God, I've got to get up this hill. So without much thought or effort, I'm on the next level of elevation. And I truly was. I wasn't at the top of the hill, but I was a lot further up than I had been when I stopped and when I was guided as to which path to take. And that's because I trusted. I completely surrendered to trust, and my actions were based in trust. And I just followed the path. And I surrendered to the fact that if I needed to stop, I was going to stop. If it took me all day to get back, it took me all day. And it didn't matter. And in no time at all, and without any thought or effort, I found myself practically at the top of the hill. So this is what wanted to come through and be shared with you all today. And I wish you so many blessings on this 1st of January 2022. And may the whole of January and may the whole of 2022 be that process of us surrendering to trust and allowing Spirit to guide us, and effortlessly and easily and without much thought, allowing us to get to whatever summits, whatever peaks, whether it just be getting to the end of 2022, whatever comes up for us, finding ourselves practically at the top without much thought or effort being needed. So I wish you all a joyful, blessed day, and I will speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.